Welcome to the Legend of Zelda Extreme Challenge. This is going to be the entire Extreme Challenge from start to finish, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So first off, the Extreme Challenge is a particular variation on playing The Legend of Zelda that is tracked at twingalaxies.com, which hosts video game world records and fastest times and highest scores. This one's actually not timed or scored. All you get is your name on the page if you can finish the challenge at all. So basically you go through the whole game without picking up a sword or a shield or getting the blue ring or the red ring. You're not allowed to get the boomerangs or the letter to the old woman, which opens up the potion shops, because you can't get the potions. You can pick up any heart containers. You can pick up the blue candle or the book of magic or the power bracelet. But what you are allowed to have are also things you're required to pick up during the challenges: the bow and the arrow, the bombs, both of the bomb upgrades, the recorder, the ladder, the raft, the meat, the magic wand, the red candle, and the silver arrows. Since you can't get a sword, you can't actually complete the game. You can't beat the final boss Ganon because you need a sword for that. So the challenge is to reach Ganon using all these restrictions. You're not allowed to kill any overworld enemies, which is why you see me just walking into them or dodging them if I can. You have to visit every room of every dungeon. You have to kill all the bosses of each dungeon, including ones that you don't need to kill just to beat the level. Just if you walk into a room and there's a Dodongo in it, you have to kill it at least once. Even if it respawns, as long as you kill it at least once, then that's good for the challenge. You have to collect all the maps and all the compasses for each dungeon also. So that's pretty much it. You're allowed to die as much as it takes. You can save it, you can power off and power on. So where I am now in the challenge is I've just started. I haven't picked up any items, but I've collected a couple of free rupees from It's a Secret to Everybody spots. And I'm walking over here to buy a couple of bombs. Well, 2 sets of 4 bombs. And I'm gonna have to buy a lot of bombs in this challenge, which is gonna take a lot of money, so I'm gonna show you how I collect my money. For the first part, all I get is It's a Secret to Everybody spots, where they just give you money. But then after that, I use the money-making game. Now that I bought up to 8 bombs and an arrow, I'm going to die and save it. That way I'll start back over at the first screen. And I'm going to open up a few more secret spots. So, when you're opening up spots in the walls like that, you have to be careful not to kill any enemies with your bomb. Because if you do, it'll invalidate that segment and you'll have to start over from your last save spot and make sure you can get to that point again without killing overworld enemies. The more you play the game, the more you realize that the enemies don't appear in random places. They come up in a certain number of places each time. And some things you can count on, like if you're... I don't remember what those are called, but the red guys that stick up out of the ground, that one. If you're walking across the very top of the screen, then they won't be able to come up. If you're walking, like, really close to the rock wall or something, then they won't be able to come out of the ground. And now I'm trying to open up a 30 secret, which is on the rock above me, but I've got to wait and make sure all these Octoroks are out of the way first. so I don't accidentally kill one. I'm getting almost all of the It's a Secret to Everybody spots. I think there's one in Death Mountain that I don't get, but it's kind of just to show you where they all are. It might actually be faster just to use the money-making game as soon as you have enough money to use it. But I thought I'd do my best to fairly come across money. Sometimes if you walk into a screen and you don't like the way the enemies are coming out, like if they block off your one way to get out, then you can leave the screen and come back. And that way they might appear in a different spot and you might be able to walk by them. And that'll happen later. I'm walking over to another 30 secret. So now I'm intentionally running into these guys so I can die and save it. There's another way to do that. If you have the second controller, if you hit start on the first controller and then hit up and A on the second controller, it'll bring up that screen about die, continue, save, or continue, save, retry. But this is all on one controller, so I just have to do the thing where I run into people and run into enemies and then die that way. But it never takes long since you only have 3 hearts. Just a minute ago I opened up a rock spot on the rock wall, and inside that is a money-making game. And I just opened it up to make sure I could do that without killing one of the guys that's jumping around on the screen. And I've got a little bit of money now, so I'm going to fill up my bombs again and use this secret shop here to buy meat. This is the only shop that sells meat for 60 rupees. Everywhere else it's 100. And the blue ring in the middle there, that doubles your defense, so you can take twice as many hits, but it's banned in the extreme challenge, so I can't get it. So now I'm going to show you how I make money without the It's a Secret to Everybody's. You walk into the money making game and you pick one, and if it's good, then you can die and save it. And in this case I get 2 good ones in a row, so I'm going to die and save it. And then I'm going to walk back to the same money making game and try again. And if it's negative, then I'll just hit reset on my console, and that way I can try again from the same spot and the same amount of rupees without actually the loss counting against me. And as you might tell, I've sped it up quite a bit because you can kind of see what's going on, and it's not really that interesting. Just keep entering and trying to get some money, dying and saving, and then if it's bad, I'll just reset it. But the bad ones I've gone ahead and taken out of the video because it would just make it a lot longer to do that. Now it looked like I got a lot of positive ones in a row, but like I said, I took out the bad sections where I lost 40. I just removed them from the video after it was uploaded onto my computer. This was recorded on an NES console into a VCR. then the VHS tape was captured onto my computer with a capture device. So, what I've left in the video is every life that actually accomplishes something. So, that by the way was a way of getting a key. I just ran into the skeleton holding the key, and it gave it to me. But I don't have any weapon right now. I've got bombs, but they're really limited, and if I run out, I can't get more without buying them right now. I am allowed to kill enemies in the dungeons. Any enemy that I want to kill, I can, and the ones that I have to kill are the bosses. And of course, any room where killing all the enemies results in a map or a compass, then those are also required to kill. I just ran into the skeleton again to get the key that he was holding. And here I've got to take these guys out with bombs, and I'm trying to refresh the room to see if they'll appear in a better spot, like more grouped together, but I didn't see that they were doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and just take them out with the bombs that I have. And do your best to get 2 of them with 1 bomb, that way you can save a bomb. Where I'm headed right now is into this item room, which has the bow in it, and since I've already bought the arrow, I can use the bow and arrow as my weapon for the dungeon. And not have to worry about wasting bombs. Using arrows costs money though, so that's one reason I maxed out the number of rupees I could have in the money making game, so that I could be using my arrows as much as I wanted. And when you're low on hearts, then when I'm low on hearts, I try to kill some dungeon enemies to see if they'll drop a heart. These little slimes never drop anything, so the only thing you have to shoot them for is to get them out of your way. And, of course, in this room you have to kill all the enemies and then push the block to get the sealed door open. The Eastmost Peninsula is the secret. I think that refers to the actual dungeon that I'm in, but it's really hard to tell. Also, peninsula was misspelled. I got a fairy there, so that gives me more hearts. Now in this room here, you have to kill all the bats to open the seal on the right, or you can use a key on the door above you. Another thing you can do is enter the room and then let the bats kill you, since all you had to do for the challenge was just add that room to your sub-screen map. I'm going after another key that's down here. You do get a lot of keys in the first quest. In the second quest, they're kind of stingy with their keys. But in case you want to go through more locked doors than what I go through, you're free to buy keys in the overworld shops if you'd like. If you kill those 3 there, then you'll get the boomerang, which is a banned item, so there's no reason for me to try to kill them. Now this boss here is a little tricky, because if you kill him from over here, then the heart container is going to be in your way. So I shot him once with an arrow, and I'm going to bomb his head from this side and stay out of the way, so that I don't have to walk through that heart container. And now I've got my first piece of the Triforce. 7 more to go. And so, what I usually do when exiting a dungeon I've just beat is save it. Because when I'm walking on the overworld to my next objective, if I accidentally kill an enemy, I'm going to have to do that whole segment over. So as long as I start the segment from here with the dungeon beaten, then it's not going to be too much of a problem. And sometimes it's just too hard to wait around for everybody to get out of your way. And if you push yourself through, then it saves a little time. You can usually get the heart back. This is my usual bomb buying shop. But there are others. It depends where you want to be close to. The meat that I'm holding, by the way, in button B, is a way of ensuring that I don't kill an overworld enemy by accident. Because if I have one in my face, and I am feeling like using an item, then it's not going to be the one that kills them. Also, it attracts enemies. If you put it in the middle of one of these rooms, one of these screens, then the enemies will just crowd around it and eat it. I'm walking into level 3 now because there's a raft in here that I need. And I need the raft so I can get into level 4 and grab the ladder. And when I have the ladder, then I'll be able to get the bomb upgrade and the recorder in level 5. When I've got the recorder, I'll be able to get the bomb upgrade and the red candle in level 7. And then when I have the red candle, then I can get a little bit of money. And then I can go into level 6 with 16 bombs and be able to get the wand. And then once I have the wand, that'll be like having a sword because it has the same basic attack as a powered up sword. So that's really what I'm working toward for this entire first, like, 45 minutes of the run, is working up to getting the wand. But as you did see, I finished level 1 completely, and I'm going to finish level 3 completely because they don't take a lot of resources to do, and the wand isn't really required for them. The reason the wand is a required item in the challenge is because you can't beat a certain boss without it. If you don't have a sword, then you need the wand to beat the Gliok bosses, which are multi-headed dragons that shoot fireballs. And you might have noticed my technique there of putting the bombs on walls. That's a way of making absolutely sure that your bomb will have an effect on the enemy. If you put it in the middle of the room, there's a chance he'll walk into it from the wrong side and just get knocked backwards instead of blow up. One good thing to know in this challenge is what's coming up next. So you've got to play it a lot to get used to that. Like, if you know that you're going to generate in the middle of the room instead of in the stairway, then you know you can just run straight up to get out of the room. I've already got the compass. It was in that room, just sitting on the ground. If you kill these 3 enemies, then you'll get some bombs out of it, but I don't really need them right now. There's a lot of locked doors, but there's only one that you have to unlock. And it's the one up here, because there's some stuff up above you that you need to get. Well, the only thing that's above you that you need is to fill in the rooms in your sub-screen map. Thanks for rubbing it in. No, I can't get a sword. I'm not allowed. He's referring to the white sword, which you can get after you have 5 heart containers. which I wouldn't be able to get anyway, because I can't get any more heart containers. So, in that room, which is the last room in that part of the dungeon, I died and saved it in that way, or died and continued. That way I can start back at the bottom and finish off the dungeon that way. The slimes here are pretty good at giving up money. So even with an arrow, you can leave a slime room with more than what you used. The only thing I'm going to do here is get out of the room and just spawn the wall. Going through this way saves me from using a key. And so I do that at all times if I can. And then right over here is the boss, which sometimes you can kill with a single bomb. And now I'm out of bombs, so my only hope is to shoot him a couple times with my arrow. You have to shoot him from the side that has the vulnerable part. The middle part you can't shoot. All I have to do is add this room to my map, but since it doesn't take much to kill it, then I'll clear out the room, and then I'll go back up. And remember where the heart containers are going to show up? I almost walked into it that time. But when you go into a boss fight, you have to know where the heart container is going to be, and it's not random, it's in the same place every time. Because if you grab a heart container, you're going to end up having to do the whole dungeon again, wherever your last save spot was. So now, I finished the dungeon, so I'm going to die and save it. So now, I've got 2 pieces of the Triforce, and I've got my bow and arrow, and my raft. And the raft I'm going to use to get into level 4. But I'm out of bombs right now, so I'm going to go buy some more. There have been 5 people as of January 2010 who have, well, as of, what month is it? March. It's March now. As of March 2010, there have been 5 people to do the extreme challenge for the first quest. It was Marlon Morrow back in 2001, Tom Votava the following year, and then after 6 years, Rodrigo Lopez and Andrew Furr did it in 2008. And then myself, I did it last year in 2009. And of those 5 people, 3 of them have finished the extreme second quest. That's Tom Votava, Rodrigo Lopez, and Andrew Furr. And I myself have also finished the second quest extreme challenge, but I have not yet had my video verified by Twin Galaxies. And to do that, you gotta record your VHS tape, or whatever way it is you're gonna record it. And it's gotta be done on the original console with a standard controller that has no turbo or slowdown or anything on that. You can't do it on an emulator, so you can't use save states, of course. And you have to start the tape before you power on the console and give it 5 seconds or so of just recording nothing. And then power on your console to make sure, so they can verify that you're using an actual console. And then you would go to the twingalaxies.com page and go to submit your record, and you have to make an account, and you have to select which record it is that you want to have verified, and then You print it out and sign it, and mail in your tape to the referee that it says, and when he gets to that spot in his verification queue, then he'll look at it, and if it passes, then it'll be added to the scoreboard. Right now I'm in level 4. You gotta be conservative with your arrows here because it can be really expensive chasing bats. And what I'm going after is the ladder. Again, this is all working up to getting the wand. You don't have to worry about the stacks of pancakes, the orange guys. Likes, that's what they're called. You don't have to worry about them too much because you don't have a sword, or you don't have a shield, so they can't eat your shield. But if you run out of bombs, then you won't be able to get out. So you would have to reset your console and just try the segment over. So I got the ladder, and I just died, and I'm saving it. And I'm not going to finish off level 4 right now. What I'm going to do is do the money-making game a little bit. You know, just to get my funds back up, because I need enough money to pay for the bomb upgrade, which is coming up, and also for all the arrows that I'm going to use. And those cost 1 rupee each. So I did that, and again, that's a post-production fast-forward. That wasn't the way it looked when I played it. I was just making it go faster because you've already seen that kind of thing already. And without those fast-forwarded parts, this video would have an extra hour added onto it. So you'll thank me later, especially in level 7. I mean, 8, actually. Level 6 and level 8 have a lot of fast forwarding, and level 9 has some too. But I'm not going to fast forward over any part that I haven't shown you already. It'll only be parts that I've already talked about and already gone over. And walking through rooms I've already beaten to get up to a room that I died at, and that kind of stuff. So, now I'm in level 5. And you'll see me walk into dark rooms a few times during the challenge, and I don't bother to turn on the lights. Right now I don't have a candle, so I can't. But after you've played the game a few times with the candle and with the lights on, then you can just kind of remember what the rooms look like. So these guys are really annoying, because you don't have a sword, you can't hit them directly, and you don't have a wand. You can do it with a wand or a sword, but you can't shoot them with an arrow. You have to take them out with bombs. So they also hurt a lot. That was really lucky just now. I took out 4 of them that were all grouped together. So if you're not scared of dodging a lot, it's a good idea to walk around the room and wait until they group together a little, and you can hit them more than once with the same bomb. So I've cleared out this room, and I'm going back over to the right to try to get a bomb drop from one of the enemies. One of them's carrying a bomb, so he's guaranteed. And the other ones, you have a chance of getting a bomb drop. But you need a lot of bombs coming up, so I'll show you what my trick is to make sure I have enough to clear out the second room. The room to my left is full of blue dark nuts. And the room to my right, here, is where you get the bomb upgrade. You pay 100 rupees and you get your maximum bombs raised to 12. But it also fills up your bombs automatically. So what you're going to want to do is do your best in the second blue dark nut room, and then leave it and get your bomb upgrade, and then come back to the blue dark nut room and finish off the ones that you left alive the last time. So I'm going back into the earlier part of the dungeon to try to get another bomb drop. And of course those guys are being really cheap, so they didn't give me one. This room, by the way, is pretty much a featureless room. It's wide and open, but there's a strip of water that goes across. You'll see me cross it with the ladder there. And it just goes straight across. But there's nothing else in the room. So, I'm back in this room pretty much the same way I left it, with the 4 bombs. So I'm going to go into here and try to take out at least one of them with my 4 bombs, hopefully more than one. And these guys take off 2 hearts per hit, so if you get hit twice without getting any heart drops, then you gotta start this room over again. And I'm waiting for them to group together. I'm waiting to see if maybe I can hit 2 at once. I thought I could there, but I ended up only hitting 1. I'm trying to keep my eye on the one that I hit already, so I won't waste a bomb on somebody else. So I hit him twice and I took him out. Now again, I'm trying to get them to group together. But then sometimes I just get impatient. So there, I took out 2 of them, which is pretty good. And now when I go get the bomb upgrade, that gives me 12 bombs that I can use against the last 4 of them, so the odds are in my favor. And it's safer to do that than get the bomb upgrade before you first go into the room, because you get more bombs doing it this way. So I'm going to stick to the walls. I'm not going to worry about grouping them together since I've got so many bombs right now. And just hit them one at a time. I take 2 bombs each. I almost got run into there. So there, and that last one gave me a bomb drop, which was nice of them. They usually don't give bomb drops, but sometimes if you use a bomb on them, that's what they'll do. So I got my recorder now, which is great. I can open up level 7 and get the other bomb upgrade. I say bomb upgrade, but it doesn't actually upgrade your bombs, it just upgrades your capacity for carrying them. So, but having 16 bombs is a great way to go after the one, which is in level 6, and it's full of whiz robes that you have to bomb to kill, since not even a wand will work on them. I'm just running into this fire here to kill myself. And then go back to the money-making game, because it's going to cost another 100 to get the second bomb upgrade, and I also want to have enough so I can use arrows without running out of money. So, a little bit of that, and fast forwarded for your convenience. And now I've got 165, which Should be just right. So I'm headed towards level 7 now. Still working up to getting the wand in level 6. We're going all kinds of out of order, but the wand makes every level easier, so it's a good thing to work toward it early on. So the first thing I've got to do in here is get the other bomb upgrade. And since it fills up your bombs, I'm opening up a couple spots in the wall. Like the one up there, I'm not going to go into right now, but I have it opened up because I'll be able to get that bomb back when I upgrade my bombs. So, kill everybody in that room and get a bomb drop. And that's nice. This room I'm running into for the key, but also just because I need to add it to my map, and then the next time I come in level 7, I won't have to go over here just to get to that room. So I got another bomb drop by killing the bats in that room. And now up here, I've got 3 of these guys to destroy. They take 2 bombs each if you don't miss. You just have to put it in front of them. If you have a sword, you can kill them with 1 bomb by putting it in front of their face and having it go off and they'll get frozen. And then you can just hit them with your sword and they'll die, but that doesn't work with a wand or any other item. It only works with a sword. So, 2 bombs each, and then you get to open up the next bomb upgrade. So, I'm thinking maybe I could just die and save it from here, but I'm feeling a little greedy, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the red candle now. I'm killing these guys to see if I can get a heart drop. And that was just finishing off a rune that I needed added to my map. Might have got the compass there, I wasn't watching. This is kind of an annoying room because those boomerangs can jump out when you're not expecting it. There's no kind of preparation that they do for it. And they take off a whole heart each time they hit you. And those electric spark-looking things that are going around the room. Normally those take away your ability to use the sword for a limited period of time, but since I don't have a sword, you're free to run into it as often as you want. This is a quick way of taking care of a dig dogger. You just put a bomb, blow your whistle, put another bomb, and it should get all of them, but I was in a bad spot there. I wasn't paying attention to where I was getting that process started, so now they're running around the room. And I used more bombs than I wanted to use, but I still have enough to finish off the goal that I'm trying to accomplish here. These guys, you can use arrows, you can use a wand, you can use bombs. They're not hard. I mean, so I get a key out of that. And that's one of the required enemies. That's one of the required bosses that you have to kill every time you see them. At least once in each dungeon. Now I've got to give up my meat, which I like having for the overworld, so when I leave here I'm going to buy more meat, just for the sake of overworld traveling. There's a map in the middle of this room, and again, once you've played the game enough, you know what the shape of the rooms are that are dark. I'm taking a pretty direct route to the red candle, except for that one room detour a little earlier. You can use arrows on these guys to kill them. I'm just using bombs because I get impatient sometimes. Also, I'm running out of arrows. I have really low money. So if I used arrows all the time, I would probably run out. So I was kind of going back and forth there. So now I've got the red candle. And the red candle is going to make it possible to access level 8. And also access a couple of 100 rupee secrets to everybody. So I'm just going to die and save it. Then the extreme challenge, the red candle is required in the first quest, but the blue candle is banned. And the extreme challenge for the second quest, the blue candle is required and the red candle is banned. And the reason for the difference is that in the first quest, you can access the red candle without burning any bushes to reach the dungeon for it. But in the second quest, the red candle is inside a dungeon that is inside a tree. So you've got to burn the tree to access the dungeon that has the red candle. So of course you'd need the blue candle for that. And just in the spirit of restriction, they went ahead and banned the red candle from the second quest Extreme Challenge. But now that I've got the red candle, I'm going to use it to get a bit of money by doing secrets to everybody in a couple of secret bushes. And the more you walk around the overworld, the better you get at dodging. That's always nice. You can apply that to other games. You know, shoot 'em ups or whatever it is, space shooters that you do. Kids these days. I'm running up here so I can buy some meat again. And while I've got a little bit of extra money, I'm gonna fill up my bombs again too. When I choose video game projects to do, I end up getting over my head sometimes, and I'll end up with challenges that I can't finish. But sometimes it'll work out if you just keep at it. In October of last year, I spent an entire month trying to beat one of my own best times for fastest completion on Ghosts and Goblins for the NES, and after a month of trying I couldn't do it because the game has a lot of enemies that can hit you before you can have a chance to get prepared for it, and so you can be a really skilled player and still lose to the game because it's just an unfair game. So I was kind of feeling unaccomplished after that month, and in order to feel like I could get something done, I started working on the Extreme Zelda Challenge. And I just worked on it little by little, built up a route, built up techniques on what enemies can be killed with what items, and in what order I wanted to do the dungeons and get the items. And anyway, I just got another 100 secret there, so I'm dying and saving it. And coming up next is level 6, which can be a pretty tough level. But if you've got a lot of bombs, then you're good for it. So, I did the Extreme Zelda Challenge. The first time I did it, I was doing all the testing and planning. So, I maxed out the death counter at 255 on my first time going through the Extreme First Quest. And then the second time I did the Extreme First Quest, I had the VCR recording, so I could send it to Twin Galaxies for verification. And I ran into some really horrible luck in levels 8 and 9. And not just bad luck, but kind of bad playing, because I'd been playing for a really long time by that point already, and I wasn't at my best. But anyway, it ended up passing verification, so I got my name on the first quest page. And then that was that. I worked on some casual Legend of Zelda, where I just was able to beat it without any special restrictions. And I got a pretty decent time, I think. I had a couple of personal rules where I didn't want to get any rings, or I had to collect all 16 heart containers and do the dungeons in order from 1 to 9. If you try to set a Zelda world record, you have to do the dungeons out of order, so you can get better items faster. So, after I did the casual first quest, I went back to the extreme first quest, and did it again for my Ustream channel, where I do live video game beating. And it went pretty well, and it went well enough where I thought, well, maybe I should record this again, and I can put it online. So that's what I did here. This is my 4th time beating the extreme first quest. So I've already died entering in level 6, but that was on purpose. If I enter a level with low health, then I'll just kill myself immediately and hit continue. And that way, I'll be able to start the dungeon with full health, and not waste any time. So, these guys, if you kill the room, you get the compass, so that's what I just did. And these bats you have to kill to open up the sealed door up there. And you'll have to do that every time you want to pass that room. Some rooms carry over, that means that when you clear out the room, then it'll always stay empty every time you go through it. And I just got hit by a blast from a wizrobe, so I died. But now I'm just going to walk back up to that room and try to clear it out. And when you get familiar with which rooms carry over and which ones don't, then that's going to help, because you'll know better how to use your resources, like your arrows and your bombs, and know when they're cleared out. Then you can build your bombs back up again and not have to go through the room again. One thing that'll tell you if a room carries over past death is if there's a bubble in the room, and a bubble's that spark thing that's floating around right now. If there's one of those in the room, then the room will carry over, and you'll only have to clear it out once. I've got a lot of bombs, so I'm using them kind of badly. I'm putting them in just random places that the wizrobe might walk into. But in hindsight, that was a bad idea, because I get too low on bombs and I'm not able to finish my objective with the number of bombs that I have. Now, what you see me doing here is using the red candle to kill like-likes. That's because it's free. Doesn't cost any rupees to do that, doesn't cost any bombs. So it's more economical than using a bow and arrow or a bomb. And since they're really slow enemies, it's not dangerous. I've only got half a heart, so basically what I'm doing is just pushing through and seeing if I can get as far as I can before I die. And right now I'm reloading the room to try to get the orange wizrobes in a better spot, so I can run by them. Now in this room, the slimes have the possibility to drop a heart, but not the like-likes. So I was trying to get a heart drop, but the more important part is that I'm out of bombs. I've got 2 left, so here's how I'm going to get bombs. I'm going to walk into this room here, and I'm going to wait until the orange wizrobes are only on 1 or 2 blocks, and then I'm going to run up and try to bomb them all with the same bomb. And because of the frame rate differences between VHS recording and a Nintendo, you can't actually see in this video all of the wizrobes that I could see playing it live. There's some that are flashing, and those aren't just showing up. So sometimes it looks like there's only they're only on 1 square in the video here, but there's actually others on other squares that are just not showing up. So the reason I'm trying to bomb all of them is so that it only takes 1 bomb and I get a good chance of getting a bomb drop. And that time I did get a bomb drop. I'm up to 5 now from the 2 that I started with. So I'm going to fast forward here a little bit now that you've seen basically what I'm doing. And this is how I gain bombs. You know, there's another way of doing this. I just got another bomb drop. But you can hang out in the door frame, and the blasts from their shots will not hit you. And you can just wait there and see if they'll come in a better configuration, but I didn't know that at this time. I only learned that when I was doing the Extreme Second quest. So here's this room again. It's a good idea to leave the slimes alive in the room below me. That way, if I get hit by one of those fireballs, I can go back down and try to get a heart drop from a slime. And again, this room carries over. You can see I don't have to fight through the like-likes and the wizrobes in that room anymore. This room's kind of tight quarters, so sometimes you just can't get over to that door, no matter how hard you try. So, that wasn't too successful. The most important thing that I got in that last life was my last bomb drop, so I'm up to 11, and I've only got 1 room to clear out. Oh, by the way, the slimes are not going to drop an item if you use a red candle on them. They only drop an item if you bomb them or if you use an arrow. Or a wand or a white sword, but we don't have those at this time. So here's this room again. Gonna run over here and get in the wall. It's kind of a scary room, that one. It's kind of dangerous. So one thing you can do if you don't get your heart drops from the 2 slimes is leave the room and reload it, and that way the 2 like-likes will turn into 2 slimes. That room had 3 wizrobes in it when I left, but now since I've reloaded it, there's only 2 blue ones and 1 orange one instead of 3 blue ones. And now it will always be 2 blue ones, so I'm gonna try to take them out with the bombs that I have. I've got 8 bombs, so I've got pretty good odds. But they're really hard to tell where they're gonna go. I mean, they'll walk in one direction for a few blocks before zooming around or whatever it is they do. But I'm trying to group them together because they take 3 bombs each. Seeing if maybe they can get close together, I can save some bombs. Like, they were together, but they walked away. So I'm pretty close. And there. So I got that guy. And now, this is the moment you're waiting for so long when you're doing the extreme challenge. When you get the wand. It's quite a hassle to reach it, and as you can see, I've got 3 bombs. So if I went into level 6 with the maximum of 12, I may not have been able to finish. So I like giving myself the best odds possible by getting both the bomb upgrades before going into level 6. But now that I have the wand, the game is pretty easy for a little while. I'm just gonna go through the dungeons one by one now. I'm gonna cut them down one at a time. And then the next difficult part is level 8. So we're walking towards level 2 now. And you can go straight across through the forest part below me to get to level 2. But I just prefer going this way because there's less chance of getting hit by an enemy. But level 2 with the wand is not a difficult dungeon. For the overworld and the dungeons, the more you know about what's on the next screen, the better you're going to be with surviving. So here I am in level 2. This is not a dungeon that I've visited at all so far in the challenge. So I've got to hit every room this time and beat the bosses, get the map and the compass. The snakes will rush you if they're on the same line as you, horizontal or vertical. So you can kind of anticipate when they're going to speed up. You don't have to kill the enemies in that room, but you could if you want a bomb drop.